It is not very often I get to do this, so please allow me to welcome members of the Klingon Empire, the Romulan Republic, the Dominion, and of course, our great Federation, to Earth Space Dock for the Star Trek Online Starship Visual Review. I will be your host, Captain Ri'shad, also known as the Renegade, and it gives me great pleasure to introduce you to the ship behind me, the Grissom class, if you've not yet seen her. A magnificent ship that has to live up to the lineage of the Oberth class. So for this review, we'll be, first of all, taking a look at possible customization options and her interplay with the Oberth. Then we'll be taking a look at her in demo record to see her lineage and finer detailings. And finally, we'll take a look at the visual side of things in the visual vanity shield section at the end. Now on this note, we should keep in mind before we go any further the lineage that was the Oberth. The Oberth was an experimental platform of a light science vessel. Many new systems were tested upon the Oberth before being instigated in new state-of-the-art starships. You would have found that the Oberth was a testbed for many of the Excelsior class systems, Ambassador class, Galaxy class, Nebula class. Even systems tested on the Intrepid were most likely tested on either an Oberth or on the Nova class, depending on where we're talking about within the lifespan of the Intrepid. Safe to say that the Oberth was a heavily underestimated starship. In an alternate universe, it would have even tested the phaser lance of the Galaxy X, most likely. So with that in mind, I wonder if this will live up to the testbed feel. Shall we begin? Hang on a second. Security, we've got a couple of Tal Shar in the back there. Can you keep an eye on them? Don't worry, Tal Shar, we're not going to kick you out. We like to show off. Ah, here we go. It's my Grissom class, the USS It's About Time. Sorry, Ambassador Kale. Well, it is about time this ship turned up here in Star Trek Online, and with an interesting set of options available. See, the Oberth itself even got a bit of love shown to it. No longer are we sitting with just, I believe it was the 2280s variant, or the motion picture variant. And now we have the 2360s variant, also referred to probably as the TNG version. What was the difference? Size. Literally, it couldn't make up its mind. In some beliefs, it only had 3 decks in the saucer. In other versions, it had 5. It really couldn't make up its mind in size, so yeah. Proof that the Oberth was experimental as hell, it couldn't even keep its own size in check. Well, with all this interplay, it's resulted in quite a bit of customization options. For example, the Oberth saucer is the Oberth saucer. You could have the Grissom saucer on there if you wanted to. It is a nice little touch, I do like the way it looks. Hull options, we can go between the Grissom, the TMP, and TNG. Mostly that just changes the pennants on the ship. Pylons is literally about the same story going on here. And once again, changes relative markings. Oops, show you the back a little bit better there. In the case of the pylons, it is literally just changing a couple of vented plates. They had to be added during the TNG period because the ship was getting way too hot with a new warp core. And finally, you have your nacelle options, which is quite nice. Grissom's available, then you've also got the Oberths. And it literally then adds the Oberth betas, which will give you a grille. Oops, better if I could actually show you the grille. Personally, I like to have the warp grill in there. It just or the warp coral grilling just makes me feel like it's a bit stronger. And side noting round, for those that like, would have been nice to see Bassard collect a variant, like a Delta variant that gives a Bassard collector a bit of creative license. Believe it or not, this ship's Bassard collectors do exist, but they are nowhere near the same as your atypical starships. Which makes me wonder why the Grissom class is atypical starship Bassard collectors. What? You could have left it in the primary hull like the old Okay, well, who cares? Let's now look at hull materials. This bit is why I changed the lighting to space dock instead of default, which is oh, has it fixed itself? No, it hasn't. It's gonna stay dimmer then. We get some very light hull plates on this ship. First of all, Define, which is my personal favourite on the Starship. It's very beautiful, brings out its colorations very nicely, and a bit of copper just adds a bit more life to the ship. Fleet 1 and Fleet 2, if you have the fleet variants, are quite nice. I'm flying my fleet variant right here, so yay, it's there. Galaxy, which again feels really good, and personally speaking, I will just jump over here. Oops. It's amazing how well that works. Shame we didn't see it looking like that in TNG. Up and on, we have the Intrepid. Now, personally speaking, that should feel a bit more fitting considering science vessel types. But, I don't know, I'm not really keen on it. NX, I've got nothing to say on that one. NX refit. Interesting that there's red glow around the Bassards. Sorry, the impulse array Bassards. What the Don't mind me, I'm having memory lapses here. Sovereign, which looks absolutely gorgeous on this starship. Definitely feels like that's the whole plate that should be on the ship, really. In my personal opinion. I love the Galaxy class feel to the nacelles. We'll get to that later. Type 0. And let's just be fair. Really works well. If you want to go for a nice classic look. Oh. I confused myself for a second there with the Delta. Nice classic look. You can get it very easily with this ship. Type 1, 2 and 3 are about what you expect. I don't think they've been showing too much love, these hull plates, recently. Type 4 definitely hasn't. Type 5 looks very beautiful in the ship and gives you a nice metallic feel in flight. Type 6 kind of fits, even if it is a tier 5 type. Yeah, we never got tier 5 rebirth. Type 7. Type 7A is the typical that you see on this ship. Type 8. Type 8B to give yourself more of a well, a better motion picture feel, if I'm honest. As you can see. And then, if you have it available, we have Veteran. My only gripe and question is, where is the upgrade hull? Who cares? Let's be fair, the Grissom is a very nice looking ship, just to be on a blatant on it. Plenty of window types available if you're interested, and of course you always have the option of putting on different bridge elements if you purchase bridges from the Zen store. Now then, with this being all noted and to the side, time to take a look at the better detailing. So here's where we get into the fun part. Now, there are plenty of things to note or break down on this ship. First of all is the fact that, if you ask Cryptic, the back section of the ship that is connected to the pylons and the nacelles and the lower hull, or should I say the mission module, apparently that's part of the pylons too. Cryptic, really do love the fact you gave us the tier 6 Oberth, but I just want to let you know that the way this ship functions is, you were right, the front section is notably the saucer section technically, even if it could be considered just one solid hull, but it's saucer to primary hull is that section behind the ship, normally about 1 or 2 decks. I see it seems to have increased to 3 decks now in some manner, somehow. Not entirely sure what's going on with those windows around here. Yep. And then you have the mission module below. Not normally, it's not, although it always looks the same in every Oberth that you see, it was a interchangeable part of the ship that could connect different modules for different purposes. Always had a deflector in that section though, funny enough, except for when it didn't. And then sometimes the ship would be relying on a secondary deflector that was up in the saucer. The fun things you know about the Oberth. Do you think I really like the Oberth? So the main things that I'm going to first interplay onto and want to talk about with the new Grissom class, thinking of the fact that it is experimental in nature, is I do believe this ship has been designed to function with its primary 4 segments, the nacelles, saucer, now sort of secondary saucer because it's sort of a saucer section, but the secondary hull and its lower mission module, which is actively acting as its secondary hull. Now, that's just confusing to me. Well, they look like they're designed to work in a more tight interplay. Take the actual pylons that are connecting the lower hull to the upper hull away, and you'll notice that just under here, the area that glows whenever you activate temporal abilities, looks like it can link into that. It's a little bit hard to show, but the shape is just about there. You'd have to take the canoe segment and move it back just a little bit, but they would actually link together almost. And I like that kind of play, because that shows the initiative to be able to work on ships that have a more narrow profile and test those kind of warp bubbles. But since that's the only thing that I can talk about really that goes on the whole ship as a whole, other than what a beautiful profile she has, and I mean, she's got a beautiful profile. I like it. I'm not overly keen on the upper hulls. The fact that it's round, I would have liked it to be similar to the original Oberth sort of shape, even if it was boxy. It'd been just a nice little link. But the fact that it does hold that saucer shape on the upper section, and there is a bit of curvature to it as well, that has got a nice smooth flow on the underside. You can see it doesn't, they don't argue with each other too much, do they? The upper hull and the actual saucer, they are on a level on the lower section. It's just that nice sleekness to it. Also makes you feel like you can take the pylons away, take the canoe away, and suddenly you've got a ship which is very small and very agile looking. I would have loved the option to remove pylons and lower hull. If you could have done that so that you've just got what you've got on the upper section, that's just been beautiful to me. I'm just going to be honest. If I thought about it, I'll cut it down now to show you exactly what that sort of looks like in my head-ish. Still have to remove a bit of the pylons, but yeah. Forward profile, because I want to show this too. I am a massive Oberth fan, so of course I'm going into really heavy detailing here. This is probably the aspect that I like the least. This is my least favourite look. I do still think she looks really good. Just feels a bit weird the way the pylons are scalping out really hard and then coming down. But at the same time, it feels fitting, just because if you think about the way the Oberth is, it does feel like the right experimental function. And it does mean they can interplay the nacelles a bit better. They could lower the nacelles down, and place them on top if they wanted to, rather than have them on their own little pylons up. Rear of the ship, well, same sort of profile view. I do think it feels more aggressive from the rear, but that's the only thing I'll dub on that. One thing I do want to look at though, and that's just breathe that in a second. Suddenly she feels like a much more technical ship. Just, I don't know why, but looking at her from above makes her feel very high-tech, specialized, experimental. All of that feeling just comes back to her from the upper view. Which is my little gripe on the Grissom class. The Grissom class is an experimental ship. Well, the Oberth line is. I guess it could be argued that they decided during this period in Star Trek Online, no, we're still going to use the Nova class as the experimental platform, but I don't know why they would when the Nova class was technically a failure as an experimental platform. Well, it never lived up to being as good as the Oberth did. That's why the Oberth continued to be an experimental platform, even with the Nova about. It took a long time to retire the Oberth. What I will say, though, is I do love the feel of the Grissom class and how certain segments of the ship do look experimental, like they're designed for interplay and interlocking. For example, we are going to pick up on the upper hull first. This segment. So what is that on the top there? Sensor node, a high range frequency sensor. It's got 2 locking mounts. They could possibly be, weapons, I guess, but they could all, well, the fact they've got the red pinstriping around them makes me kind of go with their weapon emplacements. But their design makes me want to say they're experimental emplacements. So they're designed to have some kind of fixture locked in on top of them, locked in place, and the required connections would be established, and you could test, say, a new phaser turret, mount between the 2 of them together, and you can test a new phaser strips output. I don't know why you wouldn't take out the phaser strips already on this ship. Kind of a thing that I think they missed a chance with, because they could have made those phaser strips look a bit more experimental, like they're designed to remove and re-equip new strips into place. But I guess a lot of phaser strips, those are just the emitters you're seeing there. Maybe you don't have to change the emitters if you're changing the cycling cylinder or the actual charging cylinder. I do believe it's a cycle cylinder and a charge cylinder used on phaser strips. Oh, I'm testing my own knowledge here now. Going towards the back, you can see the interlocks for ejecting some of the matter, which I think is quite nice to see. I like how that's linked up, because it sort of tells you what that engineering is there. It should be there, because down here isn't actually engineering. And the Oberth, a lot of the time, that was completely hollow. But no, there could be things put down there. You could have a shuttle bay down there. You could have just about anything down here, if I'm honest with you. Special science suites, special engineering suites. That was the thing with the Oberth that people didn't, I don't think a lot of people recognised. The main body of the ship, the upper section, housed everything the Oberth needed. But it didn't mean you wouldn't find it twice in the ship. You could find an engineering section in the canoe. You could find special science labs in the canoe. It depends on what the function of that Pacific Oberth was. Specific. My word, I can't English. Moving back a little bit now on the actual upper hull. I think the escape pods look absolutely amazing. I love how they blend in well with this hull type. Not so well on the others, but hey, it's still nice. The window design that comes with these escape pods is a very nice design as well, so I would be very happy to use those in together. Move towards the back, and you've got the hatches there that you actually found on the Oberth. I do like the fact that it continued to be used here. These are simple release hatches. They would blow away, and I can't remember what they were designed to eject, but still very nice to see them there. On the same note, we'll talk about impulse, because we're right next to the Impulse. Those Impulse engines to me are beautiful. There's something about them that feels overpowered, over-engineered, like they're more than necessary. I also like the fact that they go from that very nice dark grilling into the more prominent, but it's not really bright red, but it is a prominent red, back to dark. The individual pinstripes through it just gives you that air of, it's not just one solid output, but multiple. I've had a brain nug, and now I've forgotten the word I'm looking for. But multiple of something for releasing the thrust. Yeah. Totally what I mean to say. Another noting platform is you keeping in mind the size of this ship. I like the way they utilize the idea of giving it a hangar. 6 of them in total, because you'll probably find that these are just independent rooms, much like you'd have found on the Defiant class. Not saying that there's a full size like runabout on this, probably more Type 11, or whatever the most appropriate shuttles are. One on each of those pads would be most likely what I'd expect. But I do like the fact that they've actually considered and remembered to give this ship some extra sort of shuttle bay space. And then you've got the straight up clamshell of a shuttle bay, probably holds, I'm going to say 2 shuttles, maybe 3 shuttles in there, on the saucer itself. However, you could argue with me and say these 6 on the back here by the Impulse Array aren't shuttle rooms. That's fine. Love to hear what you think's in there. Hey, to be fair, there could be shuttle rooms, but they could also contain, say, a specialized probe that they want to release at set coordinates to do some testing. Like I said, this is an experimental and a research vessel. It is fulfilling a lot of roles. We'll get into the combat side of things later. So drop down. Now, before we go all the way down, I do want to say on the upper hull, that lower section is actually probably one of my favorite elements to this design. And people probably going to think, what the hell are you talking about? It's the detailing level. I like the fact that, despite the fact that I would have preferred it to have a similar shape to the original berths, this curvature and the round shape of it works really well. I like the smooth flow it has. It's not a big dip, but it's just enough for one. An interesting sensory node there. Love the design and the sort of grilling that's got surrounding it with those plates. It just feels to me like there's a lot more going on with this ship than a ship of this size should have, and that's just experimental interplay to me. Also, I like the fact that that sensory node seems to have locking clamps to it, which again fits into the experimental nature of the ship. It means it can either release that sensory node and then attach a new one to test that one out. It could put a amplifier maybe in place by locking it on, I don't know. Or we could even test other systems. It's great to see that there. So happy to see that there. I'm assuming that's the sensory node. But it could also be right there at the front, in which case, oh my word, what kind of output is that supposed to be doing? Okay, so back down to the battle canoe section. Okay, jokes off. First of all, oh, I lost myself a little bit there. The deflector system of this ship. I like the fact they made the deflector visible. I like the fact that it isn't a bog standard deflector. In fact, it somewhat looks like a warp grill. Or the warp coils, which is a different train of thought, and I actually appreciate it. I think it looks really good. There's a nice sense to it. It feels high-tech, it feels integrated, and it also doesn't feel over the top. It's not huge, it's not, I'm going to say boisterous like some ships have for deflectors. There's an elegance to it. This whole of this Grissom class is a very elegant ship. Move around towards the back. First of all, please, can I just nub on that whole pattern they've got underneath there? Just off on that. We're going to go all the way to the back now, though. And I really do love the way they've just stretched out the tail of the ship a little bit. Couple of hatches there for crew to come out of, or worker bees to come out of. Nice bit of venting thought about there. And it just all works all the way back. And just the way it's designed, the way it's grilled out there, feels like it's designed to be able to release certain gases when necessary, test different systems out the back there. Maybe it can make a focused warp bubble out the back, I don't know. But this is an experimental ship, so have fun with it. Imagine random different experiments they could possibly do if it really wanted to just push the boat out a little. No, yeah, push the boat out. Another thing I'm really appreciative of this ship is just the way that secondary section is attached. Nice little raise to the upper bit, it's not too smooth. And the pylons just link gently into it. I know I've griped at the pylons a little bit, but at the same time I do appreciate the thought that has gone into them. And that linkage to the lower hull is just nice and tidy. I really appreciate that. Up to the nacelles, possibly my absolute favourite section, other than the lower... Sorry, the upper hull's lower section, is definitely the nacelles. For what reasons is why I can call them another absolute favourite. First of all, I'm a fan of the Galaxy class. So to see any nacelle that has a similar design normally is a good thing with me. But I like the way these have been thought out. First of all, they look like they're designed to actually be more canoes. Let's put it that way. That structural design follows very smoothly to the shape of the rest of the ship. Primarily the lower hull. That in itself is a beautiful design element because that just helps with the flow and helps with the feel of the ship. The warp coils I think look absolutely stunning. They've got a nice blue elemental glow. I like the fact that they are outside all around the back and then down the inside in the same section. I'm a little bit disappointed though that it's as smooth as it is, only because I feel like there should be some ruggedness felt to this to give you more of a feeling of interchanging parts out of the nacelles to make them more powerful, more efficient, more economical, I don't know, pick your word. But just a change of interplay, because the nacelles are the only part of this ship to me that really fails to feel like they're constantly going through experimental tests. Even the Brassard Collector, as much as I love the Brassard Collector, I think it looks really nice. Personally speaking, these nacelles feel more like they belong on another ship that is finalized and complete, rather than a ship that would be running tests. Not sure if that's fitting for a ship of the line that's chasing the Oberth, but hey, it's just my viewpoint, I'm sorry. Having said that, we can go from nacelles to saucer, and some people love it, some people hate it. The dip in the saucer in the center there, I do think it looks good. I like how it's got another sensory point there, which makes sense because again, science ship, research ship, they need very powerful sensors. I feel like the grey plating around it is actually an amplifier to the sensory, or the sensor array. I'm interested to see what could be a weapons point again there on the saucer. And the whole interplay of the actual saucer segment is, quite frankly, peaceful to me, and I like that. It's a very smooth shape. It feels like the right evolutionary path from the Oberth. The Oberth was round, and this one's sort of, it's moving towards not so much Galaxy, because Galaxy went wider, but this one's moving sort of the Sovereign's way. It's going for that point, But it's done it gently, and it's not just done a big step straight towards the point. If they'd done that, to me, it would have ruined this ship. Would have absolutely been atrocious. And I wouldn't have actually got the ship despite begging for a tier 6 of birth. Woo! But that leads me into this final thing to say. I've been saying that this should be an experimental platform. But now let's take that out of the head. I'm going to zip back before we go into visual. Sorry, the vanity shields. This ship actually looks complete at the same time. Like it's not an experimental test bed. Like it's not running different systems. I mean, for example, you got a hatch on the pylons here. Multiple hatches attached down here, which are clearly designed for docking. Solid weapon points throughout the ship. And like I said, the nacelles look like they're complete, they're not experimental at all. There is part of me that wishes to argue that this ship is not experimental in any manner anymore. It's stepped away from that job role, and this is now a, much like the Oberth would have been, or maybe not, because it has got proper facades on it now. The Oberth was a short-range reconnaissance, research, and experimental platform. The Oberth never operated far from a starbase. Something to remember. This ship clearly can operate very far from a starbase. And the feel of it, the completed feel of it, tells me that this ship just operates as any other ship of the Federation. There is part of me that disapproves of giving something on the Oberth's line that feel, but at the same time, I approve of it because I feel like it's an appreciation point. This is how important the Oberth was, and as such, this is the Oberth's final form. This is what all the testing has achieved. This is now the completed variant. The Grissom is how the Oberth was mastered through literal generations to reach a masterpiece of a research ship that can fulfill any scientific role necessary. But that's kind of like saying it is the most powerful, most reliable science ship in the whole of Starfleet. And I'm pretty sure we can think of other ships that would probably fulfill a research role much better than this. Even if this ship was fulfilling multiple research roles at once. We all know the Nebula, and as such in STO's period, the Sutherland, would probably be able to do more. Even if not as high tech. I think that's my way of viewing this ship. It's not really a negative view of the ship, but it's my way of seeing it. I'm sorry. I do like you really, Grissom. It's just I'm fairly critical because I have a heavy bias towards the Oberth. Vanity time. Can you tell there's a gap in the segments here? Yeah, maybe you just got back from work because decided to wait for the dilithium store vanity shield thing to drop before I went to do this. Give us all the vanity shields I can possibly do, minus all the tier 6 ones, because I'm not that good. Tier 6 rep, should I say. Well, as you can see, we have an army of vanity shields to look at, so let's get started. First of all, we have the Alliance vanity shield, which, personally speaking, looks okay for the most part, except for underneath the upper hull. The underside of the upper hull way too yellow. Maybe that's just me. Next up, Baal vanity shield. As Cryptic liked to joke, it's a black one, so everyone's gonna like it. Do you know what? I get where Cryptic's coming from when that one I'm not gonna lie, I like the darker ones. The darker ones tend to be my favourite. God, this does actually look really good. Damn it, proving cryptic right. Damn. You know, I just realised I never even commented on the actual how many weapon emplacements this ship has. So let's quickly comment that on here, yeah? Just because I feel like it needs to be noted. If we take in the idea that those circular bits in the middle, not the obvious sensor bones part, but the little discs that look similar to the phaser strips have similar to the phaser strips red outlining around them. We have got 3 on the upper hull, on the upside, one on the tail of the lower hull, and 2 on the lower hulls, one at the very front, one at the very back. Based on positioning, you can also say that they could definitely be weapons by the fact that they're designed with a line of arc. Omnidirectional points, maybe, people? That's a lot of firepower if you then consider it's also got 4 phaser strips in the upper section and 2 on the lower section, well, the very lower section, but also 2 on the forwards of the saucer. She's armed to the teeth. The only thing she seems to be missing, I will note on right here, is a torpedo launcher. Seriously, she is straight up missing torpedo launchers. But that's fine for light science vessel. Okay. Yeah, sorry, had to throw that in there. Did forget to mention that, didn't I? Borg Vanity Shield. I swear I don't normally forget things. I am so tired at the moment. Almost got here and just fell asleep, if I'm honest. Was really wound up though to come to this and notice they've dropped the legendary ships again. I can't afford the legendary ships right now. About £100 off that. Really annoying. Next up, Discovery Refit Vanity Shield, which I was so certain was what was being shown to us in our space dock, except the deflector has no red on it. But then again, it's also, yeah, it's not grey, so I guess that makes sense. Damn, that looks good. I actually like the way that looks. That probably doesn't make sense, but I really do. Not sure why the facades aren't red right now, because they definitely should be, considering. But, okay. Discovery Vanity Shield. Well, they're trying to be a bit red now. This looks good. That looks really good. I like the way this looks. Somewhat fitting, I would say. Especially considering what the Crossfield class represents, what the Crossfield class is. She's a pretty ship. Next up, we have the Emperor's Vanity Shield. And we have my present favourite. I could get comfortable flying this. Definitely my favourite look so far. Feclari Vanity Shield. Definitely my least favourite so far. This doesn't feel like it suits the ship at all. Stick the battle canoe in your face. Yeah, personally speaking, I don't think that fits. It doesn't feel right to me. That's probably just me though. Ferengi Vanity Shield. Hey, first time we've seen this one for my Fed. Oh, fuck. Oh. Okay. Oh god, no. It's kind of... Then again, Vulcan colour schemes aside, you could say there's a bit of a Vulcan feel to it now, but yeah, it's Ferengi, and maybe it's a good thing the Ferengi aren't a member of the Federation. Next, Herc Vanity Shield. Which, again, I'm not entirely sure on. I like the lime glow, though. God, I wish I got the Herc sooner, actually. Oh, in a lot of ways, I actually like it. It's just the main hull texture is what I don't like. I don't like the weave feel of the main hull texture. I know it's supposed to be, like, insectoid-like, but... yeah. If there was a lighter, if it was like a grey, I probably would have liked it more. Oh god, whitewash time. I'm so glad that the Bazaar collectors forcefully impaired their red onto it. So even though you've got a screwed up coloration that would normally be a sort of grey, it's been sort of knocked back by the red glow. It doesn't save it though. It's completely washed out. It's lost all the decent... The way the hull gave it some life, it's lost with the Kelvin. Medical Vanity Shield. Knew where this one was going, didn't we? Well, you could kind of tell from the Alliance. I do find it funny how... the few that we got for free, the Alliance and his medical, sorry, the Alliance, the Platinum and the medical are all basically based off of the same hull texture, just with some different colours added to it. Slight coloration change. Speaking of, Platinum Vanity Shield. See what I mean? And this one just made to have a bit more of a metallic glow and a little bit more sort of Tron striping added in. Still, you guys voted for this to be the Vanity Shield on, or the whole texture on the USS Ptolemaeus, so that was your thing. Guess people like the Platinum one. Definitely the Platinum looks pretty good on this ship. In the house, section 31. Oh. Emperors, you have been replaced. Oh. Look how smooth that lower hull looks. That is gorgeous. Oh, this is my favourite. This is definitely my favourite. It is 100% beauty and suits the ship right through. Oh, damn. Section 31. Talk about winning this one. Zenkefi. I mean, it's a nice look, but that's about it. Makes the ship feel bigger, I think would be the way I view this. Makes the ship feel a lot bigger actually, because it's now like it's got like multiple strips of windows just in one section below the deflector dish. But feeling bigger and actually being bigger are two different things, and, well, we're all going to be able to notice it when we're flying the ship in game, so. How about no, you freaking digger don't. Not now, thank you. I went too far the wrong way. Romulan instigation. Hey, Romulans, Republic. Pretty sure you're happy. I want to tell Shia at the back there. I know, yeah, we let you stay there. You can be happy because the Jerfface are trying to say hello. Oh, you not know who they are? Oh, that's fine. We know who they are. Jerfface is terrifying. Ooh, and speaking of, this looks really nice. First time I've really liked the Jerfface Bounty Shield. I think it's something to do with the beam phaser strips though. Just the different elements of green that's been given that real exciting edge to it. It feels very high tech, very powerful. And you've got to be careful having greens like this. It gives me a attempt to call it, rename the ship to the USS Link and just have some fun. Hero of Time! Well, it's a temple ship, Hero of Time might be fitting. Just saying. Right. Away from Vanity Shields and we go Aegis Covariant. Which, not even sure why I'm actually looking at it, because Aegis just adds Tron striping and it always looks crap. I remember when the first time I got the Aegis and I thought it looked absolutely amazing. Love the Aegis. And nowadays I'm just like, yeah, I'm kind of thinking about throwing it, discarding it. Time to assimilate. Assimilated regenerative shields. Well, the assimilating patterns are about where you'd expect them to be. And I'm just going to say, this is looking really nice with this on actually. Let's go for full just to see what we get. Okie dokie. One. The connection on the nacelle looks awesome. Deflector looks pretty good as well, I will say. It's nice to see it sized in pretty accurately, considering I was flying at one point the fully assimilated Tier 1 Oberth, which was flying with Borg Plasma. Yeah, I'm happy seeing this, indeed. Fits well, fits very well actually. Okay, unequip these buggers, these bad boys. Get that. Oh, yeah, clicked you to go. Get lost. Bajoran defense. I'm not sure what I was expecting. It's actually worse than I was expecting, in my head at least. Sorry guys, just the way it is for me. I do not like the way this one looks. Oh well, do you like it? That'd be interesting to hear. Counter Command Covariant. If there's more balance between the forward, well, the saucer and the upper hull, I would probably have liked it. But at the moment, it just feels like it's, well, it looks like the face got slammed into black paint and then the rest of it's just been splashed. I mean, the battle yacht is relatively covered in it, I guess. Okay, it's teeny tiny bit growing on me. I like the fact it's blue and green down here. That's new. That's a new look for one of those. That looks really nice. I like the blue and green warp coils, and I like the fact we've still got red facades. Because I'm pretty sure they normally get changed to green as well. Delta Alliance Unimatrix. Normally get really pithy with this one. Wait, no, hang on. This is the one which the green glow never covers the glowing element areas properly. But this time around, it's got blue behind it. Which is sort of saving the Sentry nodes. Sort of trying to save the deflector, except there is a bit of black still in there. And the same can be said about the warp coils and the impulsor deck. Now, it does look alright. It does look alright. Not great though. The one time it's sort of saving itself in the element that I just don't like. Well, I don't like about it normally. It still doesn't do great. What a shame. Dyson Regenerative. Unlike this one. This one looks absolutely gorgeous. That straight away I liked it. Oh, it's a pretty look. It feels right. Funny enough, it feels right at home here in the Dyson sphere right now. If you was to show me this ship and just tell me this is actually made by the sphere builders, I would have been willing to believe it, just on the basis of, so long as it has this design that you're seeing here. Yeah, I could have believed it. Sphere builders? Oh no. Iconians built the Dyson sphere, didn't they? Oh, I don't know who built the Dyson sphere, I don't really care. The people who built the Dyson sphere, the sort of feeling you get from the structures here in the Dyson sphere, for example, right ahead of us, the way they are structurally shaped and the way the ship is structurally shaped just makes it fit for me. I like the way the Dyson one looks here. I'm going off on a tangent right now. Iconian Resistance. I really don't know what to say on this one. Elements of it look good. Elements look good. For example, right here in the middle of the lower hull, that whole, the patterns around the essential oval that's going on down there that looks like it can dock with the upper hull, that looks absolutely great. That's beautiful. If they kept that kind of theming around the rest of the ship, it looked great. The rest of it's kind of a no. Okay, Lucari Restoration. If you need your Tron feel, this is it. Boo. I mean, she's looking pretty good. She's looking pretty good. And we go Mako. Can't decide if I like the touch that adds to it. I sort of think it looks okay. But at the same time, it could have been better. Nukara. This looks pretty good. Actually, the way it looks right now really feels right for an experimental testbed, because the whole plating looks like it can be. You lift off this piece of plating, you lift off this piece of plating, you're locking the system here, you're locking a new emitter here, and blah blah blah. You've got a new test to run. I can see it working with this ship. And that's not just me playing favourites, because I absolutely adore the Folians. For once. Prevailing. I mean... Okay, I was about to say, I mean... I like the feel of it. Still like the 4-partner saucer. I like the ring on the inside here. I think the pylons look pretty nice. The sails, they're looking pretty good as well. Take it back. Okay. When you've got pattern lapsing like they've got in the cells right now, and if you look, it's not mirrored. No. 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 Pattern lapsing is a terrible oversight in my opinion. Because Cryptic should, well, considering how much Cryptic charge for certain things in the game, you'd have expected them to have at least run checks on everything to make sure they all look fine. Apparently they chose not to, and that's something they missed. This is why you always run your checks. Even when you're 100% certain, nah, there's not going to be anything wrong, still run the check. Just do it. For safety's sakes, do it. You only end up looking stupid in the end if you don't. Romulan Advanced Prototype. Nowhere near as good as the Jerfface. I'm so tempted to literally just throw this vanity shield in the trash. It's the one of the ones that I got that I regretted getting. But I know someone likes it, so gotta show it. Temporal Defense. I'm kind of seeing why they chose to make this a temple ship now. That looks good. Oh, that looks pretty cool, actually. Oh, now I want to build a rainbow build with it. Hello, shivers. That looks so cool. Next. Okay. I thought for a second then, because of the colour I saw, I thought I was going for dielectric. Terran Task Force. I can be happy for a moment. Hokey smoky, this is... Section 31 losers. Section 31, at least you were first place for a bit. I will let you take... You can take the honourable second place. You're a silver medalist right now. Because this one's staying on the ship once I'm done here. Definitely going to be staying on. Looks absolutely gorgeous, especially the facades. No, I refuse. So, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, people. The Breen shields, the dielectric shields, literally are their most fugly vanity shields in this entire game. They have not had a decent update in the textures. They look like crap. They do not suit just about every ship. I'm sorry, I am not insulting one of my favourite ships with that vanity shield. No, to the Jem'Hadar. Put my foot down on that one. And this looks very nice, considering this is just as old as dielectric. I think it's just as old as Dielectric. It's funny how its textures have actually aged well. God, it's gonna be funny putting Dielectric on the. I forgot the name of it. The other, this disco ship that has been released. Finally, Riemann Advanced. You either love it or you hate it. I love it this time round. This time round I love it. That looks really good to me. But nowhere near as good as Terran Task Force and Section 31. I would maybe fly it if I was going with a plasma build. Just for a theme of colour. But it's nice. Can't do it. But we're going back to that one. Damn, she's been looking good. My ship is happy. She's a pretty one. And on these notes, I need to say, guys, a massive thank you for watching. Because it's time that we wrap up. So, with the credits in due, allow me to say that my final score for this ship when it comes to its visual acuities and its looks very easily is getting 8 out of 10. I'm not playing mega favourites with it. There are things they could have done better. For example, they missed an opportunity to give a more rapid and sleek feel to it by giving it pylons that feed backwards and slightly longer nacelles to give it a shape that actually has less of a tail without the nacelles, which would have been a funny little upgrade in look. But no, still I think she's absolutely stunning, so she is at least getting 8 out of 10. And I would love to hear from you guys in the comment section what you think of the Grissom class. Are you on the same boat as me? Do you really like her but feel like certain things could have been done better? Do you dislike her? Do you agree that it's about time we got a tier 6 berth? Guys, thank you for watching. I really do appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch the end of this video. And if you want to help out the channel with no cost to yourself, please consider hitting that like button and giving the video a share. Because that helps out on YouTube algorithm, and the more these videos get out there, the more I earn making these videos, and the closer I get to doing this full time, which is the main dream of the channel. On that very same note, a huge thank you to the patrons, the donators and the Twitch subscribers of the channel, which are assisting towards that dream and have helped make videos like this review possible, as the donations that they give, the financial generosity they have, literally get spent purely on this channel, making sure these reviews can be done. And occasionally they introduce another game into the set, or an update, such as Elite Dangerous Odyssey. So to you guys, a huge thank you. If you wish to join the guys credited on screen by donating to the channel and supporting it, then please check out the description below. You could either become a Patreon or make a one-time donation, but it's entirely up to you and there is no need to do so. Honestly, it means the world just knowing you've watched to this point. You're welcome to disembark now if you wish, but if you wish to join the crew of the Shadow Star, then please remember to hit that notification bell, slap the subscribe, and welcome aboard. Until next time, live long and prosper. Oh, and of course, ciao for now, guys. Stay safe and believe in yourself.